Welcome to Newsbeat on Metro Television. I am Isiodua Akumia. And now to the headlines. The Yilo Krobo Paramountcy expresses confidence over a roadmap put in place to restore calm between the people of the Krobo Enclave and management of the Electricity Company of Ghana will be adhered to. In sports, Ukraine's Alexander Usyk beat Britain's Anthony Joshua on a split points decision after 12 scheduled rounds to retain his WBA, WBO, IBF and IBO World Heavyweight boxing belts in Jeddah yesterday. Now, on the international front, Somali security forces have said they rescued 106 people who were trapped inside a hotel that had been stormed by militants on Friday night. Welcome once more to Newsbeat. The Yilo Krobo Paramountcy says it is confident that a roadmap put in place to restore calm between the people of the Krobo Enclave and management of the Electricity Company of Ghana will be adhered to. This comes after the Electricity Company of Ghana finally restored power to the area after almost 4 weeks without electricity due to disagreement of the installation of prepaid meters there. There is more in the following report.
At 5 p.m. Friday, power was restored to both Lower and Yilo Krobo municipalities after barely 4 weeks of blackout. The power, however, went out 2 minutes after its restoration until 9 p.m. the same day. This was after the completion of a successful integrity test on all the 147 installations in the Krobo Enclave by personnel of the Electricity Company of Ghana with the assistance of men from the 49th Field Engineers Regiment. Residents in the Lower Menya and Yilo Krobo were taken off the national grid for weeks following protracted impasse with the power distribution company over its decision to install prepaid meters in the enclave. Residents of the community were on cloud 9 following the restoration.
I know probably business will get back on its feet and then things will start moving well. It has really affected us in a way that we now depend on other sources of power, which is the generator. And you know, the fuel also is very expensive. You buy fuel at least 200 Ghana cedis a day before you can run your business. Let's say from the morning to, let's say, evening. That is from, let's say, 8 o'clock a.m. in the morning and then up to something like 7 o'clock p.m. in the evening. So it has really affected me.
There was overbilling, and from the beginning they refused to accept that there was overbilling. They were before that was PDS were forcing us to pay the bill. Meanwhile, they were aware that there was overbilling. Yeah, to the first of all, they don't respect with their customers. If they respect with their customers, even though they should have come together to with their customers, like we are going to make this interview, they have to come to grounds to educate us first about what they are about to do.
The situation, which affected businesses and other social events, also took a toll on health, education and all facets in the area. Some residents who have been speaking to Metro TV want opinion leaders in the enclave to resolve the impasse between communities and management of ECG. The Yilo Krobo Paramountcy, who have welcomed the restoration of power, says they are of the firm belief that a roadmap between the parties will be adhered to. According to them, they are hopeful economic activities will bounce back. Nene Anyinogute Agor, the 9th, is the divisional chief of Okpe in Yilo Krobo.
The entire Krobo land is having light at the moment. There's excitement in town. There's joy. Everyone is happy about the lights coming back. Economic activities are peaking. People are opening their shops. Yes, lives that are lost cannot be gained, but we are very hopeful that economic activities will peak and people will be able to reorganize their lives back shortly. The two paramount chiefs have agreed with officials on roadmap, and I knew my paramount chief, and I knew the paramount chief at Manya will also make sure that the roadmaps are adhered to, are followed, in order for us not to get to where we came back from.
Now, away from that, the Ghana Navy Special Boat Squadron is conducting a maritime counter-terrorism operational readiness exercise, codenamed Exercise Seahawk. This, according to the Naval Headquarters, is to test the capabilities of the squadron and help in responding to maritime-related crimes like piracy. My colleague Shadrach Odame Ejare is at the event and joins us live for more. Hello, Shadrach. Hello, Shadrach, can you hear me?
Hello, Adjoa. I can hear you.
Right. Can you tell us more on what's happening at the event?
Well, this is what has been codenamed the Exercise Seahawk. So it's in furtherance of the national security's vision of keeping Ghana as a safe place. So this had the Ghana Navy having their simulation exercise on maritime counter-terrorism or maritime-related crimes. So that is fighting terrorism around all our maritime borders, and then places that are very close or hotspots around Ghana, which are also close to our maritime borders. So we had the National Ghana Navy joined by the National Aviation SEAL, the Ghana Police Service, the Eastern Naval Command, the assault of the FBS, coming together to, and then the Ghana, it is being spearheaded by the Ghana Navy Special Boat Squadron. So they came together to form the Ghanaian team who are simulating a fight against the Titanic bombers. So the Titanic bombers are presumably people or terrorists that are coming in for piracy and then other terrorist related issues. So it was to basically test the capabilities of the Navy's squadron and then also help to respond to maritime related crimes in Ghana. And then later on, the Minister for Defense, Dominic Nitu, will also admonish Ghanaians to help the armed forces in giving out information, supports them in giving out information, and then that is also coming on the back of the See Something, Say Something policy, which was introduced some weeks ago. And then he also advised Ghanaians to avoid being too inquisitive around explosions and then other casualties that we normally see on our roads. He asks everyone to be very security conscious and then help in the fight against terrorism. According to him, fighting terrorism is not only the preserve of the security agencies, but a collective effort from Ghanaians and then all the security agencies. And then he also tasked the security agencies to work together to maybe coming up subsequently, we might find ourselves in such issues because here in West Africa, Ghana still remains the only country that has not witnessed any terrorist attack. Other sister countries like Togo, Burkina Faso, Nigeria have their fair share of terrorist attacks. So this is to prep the Ghana, not only, even though it's the Navy that is conducting this exercise, it is not to only prep the naval base, but to bring the Army, the Air Force, and then the Navy together. Because at a point, we even had heli rappelling, where you have military officers coming down from the helicopters in the air to help with the simulation exercise. So even though it's a naval-based exercise, it is also having the Army and then the Air Force also coming in to join. Asiedwa.
All right. Thank you very much, Shadrach. Indeed, we all need to be security conscious. Well, moving away from that, now, Nurse Educators Group, Ghana, have threatened to strike. Now, let's turn to the video wall and see some of the services that will be withdrawn by its members. And so, we have care, study, and project work supervision, conduct of mid-semester examination and quizzes, conduct of practical assessment, submission and moderation of questions, supervision of students at clinical sites, conduct of end-of-semester examination. Now, for the avoidance of doubt, all our services except teaching are hereby withdrawn effective 18th August 2022 till 1st September 2022. All right, so Diebiri Maximus, who is a national PRO for the Nurse Educators Group, says they will only suspend their intention to strike if government shows the commitment to resolve their concerns.
We started the process on the 11th of August. Then that one was the wearing of the red armbands. And we started on 11th and ended on 17th. And within this period, we didn't hear any positive results from government about engagement, except our mother association that wrote to them, even requesting them to meet us because it is a matter of urgency. It is a matter of emergency. But if the students will be left alone if we finally brought down our tools. That is finally we go on strike. So when it happens and we didn't hear any, we went to the second phase. And the second phase of this was the withdrawal of services. And as the notice indicated, for the avoidance of doubt, all our services except teaching are hereby withdrawn. And that was from Thursday till now. And we'll still continue on Monday with this withdrawal of services. The only thing that the tutor will do is to go to class and teach, but whatever services apart from teaching that the tutor is supposed to render, to help this student, nurse or midwife to complete, the tutor will not engage in those activities. When we go there on Tuesday, and then whatever outcome, we'll communicate to National Council members on it. And if it is positive and the government or the Minister of Health agree to our proposed revision, then it is necessary that we should also go there with good faith. So we'll come back and engage our National Council members, engage our members, and also tell them what the government is having for us. If we are happy about it, then we may suspend our services. But an individual or the national executives cannot take decision on their own.
Now, on employee and employer relationships, some medicine counter assistants say the conditions under which they work are unfavorable. They lament their salaries do not commensurate with the workload and called on their employers to improve their working conditions.
A medical counter assistant is a person who assists a licensed pharmacist to dispense drugs to customers as well as render medical advice on known conditions. At its annual general meeting, National President of the Association of Medical Counter Assistants Ghana, Ruben Abbey, said the members are faced with some challenges. Key among them is the undignified salaries given to them by the employers despite being overstretched with long hours of work.
We are pleading to our employers. We have a problem which they need to help us with. We are having meetings, but most of our employers don't allow our members to come for the meetings. When there's workshop, they don't allow them to come. When there's AGM, they don't allow them to come. And all these things, we help our members to update themselves with medications that are coming into the system. So when they don't allow them to come, it means what they know is what they are going to use. So when there are other medications, it becomes a problem.
The Eastern Regional President of the association also demanded recognition of the group by stakeholders.
What we teach each and everyone in Eastern Region especially, that you always come to meeting every second Sunday of every month in Eastern Region. So we encourage that you come and learn more. You'll be more abreast with the products that are coming up. You will learn the things through the leaflets in the grants. So please, we beg you, try and do your best so that the name of MCA will go far. We encourage each and every one, whether MCA or whoever that you are, try to carry this name MCA around so that you know that, or the whole world will know that you are professional.
He advised medicine counter assistants to upgrade and make good use of the internet by conducting research that will benefit the profession.
Social media, it could be a boon or bane. A recent viral video of a student nurse threatening to kill her patients has landed her in trouble. It is in this light that health professionals, especially students and young nurses, have been charged to be circumspect in the content they post online.
Last week, a TikTok video of a student nurse admitting her disinterest in the nursing profession went viral and featured on the news. Unfortunately, this student nurse is not the only one with such videos which has projected the nursing profession in a bad light.
So, mbabora nursing training we check and do the mekanga.
Even though the Nurses and Midwifery Council has issued a statement to distance itself from certain utterances, more of such videos that project the nursing profession in a bad light emerge almost on a daily basis. It is for this reason that the Executive Director of the African Center for Health Policy Research and Analysis, Dr. Thomas Anaba, has called on the Nurses and Midwifery Council to intensify education on the Code of Conduct for nurses. He believes this will serve as a guideline for health professionals, especially in the social media space.
The only thing we need to do is to really look at how people are to understand the code of conduct of their various health institutions. If you are admitted into a school and you are not taken through this counseling and guidance procedures to let you understand how your behavior can impact the profession, you may be misbehaving and would not really know you are misbehaving.
He also charged the Nurses and Midwifery Council to crack the whip on nurses found guilty of breaking the professional code.
I think the onus lies on the Nursing and Midwifery Council as well as the colleges, the governing bodies or council of the colleges of nursing education to step up their role as fishing out malpractice and deter others. And I will call on at least graduated nurses to put up a behavior that the young ones in school would emulate.
The National Nurses and Midwifery Association is currently on a hunt for the student nurse in the viral video and promises to get to the root of the matter.
Senior lecturer and head of Department for Mental Health Nursing at the University of Ghana, Samuel Ajololo, has urged the public to desist from stigmatizing COVID-19 infected persons and healthcare workers.
By increasing the risk of isolation, fear, stigma, and abuse, COVID-19, however, increased the risk of psychiatric disorders, chronic trauma, and stress, increasing to suicidal behavior by some victims. The World Health Organization estimated that 650 million Ghanaians suffered a severe mental disorder and a further 2,166 million are suffering from moderate to mild mental disorder. Samuel Ajololo is the senior lecturer and head of mental health nursing department at the University of Ghana.
5 out of every 10 survivors reported that they were treated as outcasts. Okay, and we also saw that 2 out of every 10 also reported some humiliations in the communities. And of course, the most worrying was the fact that 2 out of every 10 reported that life isn't worth living, which clearly is an indication of suicidal tendencies or suicidal ideas.
He stressed on the need to strengthen the country's mental health support system.
What we need to do is to focus attention on survivors. The way the disease was managed from the beginning was very, very stressful. People were just ambushed and carried into their cars and created a lot of scenes. So that created community dissatisfaction for people. The idea is that, okay, we have the disease and you are hiding a community, you want everybody to die. So when you come back and they see you, they don't want you closer to them again. So we know that diagnosis in general comes with some level of mental distress. We need to strengthen our mental health support system. I do appreciate that in this COVID, a lot of mental support system work went into the management process. However, this appears isolated.
He has, however, called on COVID-19 survivors to serve as ambassadors to help the next generation appreciate life better.
If you have recovered successfully, you are a resource, you are a pool of resource, you become a resource person. And so share your experience, come out boldly. As long as you didn't die, there's a reason why you did not die. You could be a savior. And so come out, share your experience. In that way, people will believe, for example, that this pandemic or this disease exists.
The impact of the pandemic on the psychological well-being of citizens is yet to be appreciated. However, COVID-19 is not a death sentence, hence the need to end stigmatization. Zoe Anita O'Day, Metro News, Accra.
The Coastal Development Authority says it is struggling to undertake projects due to delay in the release of funds by the Finance Ministry.
The Coastal Development Authority was established to help accelerate economic and social development within 6 coastal regions of the country. Currently, the authority is struggling to undertake projects, partly due to difficulty in securing funds. Mona Gertrude Efa is Deputy CEO in charge of corporate communications and compliance.
What happens is the communities may give you whatever they need, but it's not as easy as it seems. You need land to put up a project. You move into a community. The chief has given you land. Now, a family comes to say that this is my land. I'm not giving it out. And then there's this protracted dispute between the chiefs and the people and all that. It delays the whole process. At the end of the day, you might not even get the land to site the project. But the community needs the project. It derails our efforts to ensure that we get development to the people.
She also called on government to establish a statutory fund for the authority.
As an authority, most of our monies come from central government, yes. Central government gives us our money. But as we sit here, when we get our monies, let's say we are given 1 million cedis this year to construct various projects. By the end of the year, if we are not able to claim all that money from central government, the money goes back. Now it goes back to central government. It's not as if it's lying down there waiting for us. The next year, it is we are given another budget of 1 million, but that is going to cover the liabilities that we had in the previous year. You're not going to say that the previous year you didn't finish your project, so that 1 million cedis is lying down for those projects. No, it's gone. The next year's budget, you are going to use it to offset that budget. So it's a drawback for us. Because when you going through the procurement process, it's not as easy as it looks. There are certain legal requirements. You have to fulfill all these legal requirements. By the time you finish with that, time is already gone. A year is almost gone. You understand? By that time, your money is also gone. So we are facing a huge challenge with this. We are working out to see if we can be given statutory funding. That comes in when you are given the monies. That money is lying down there for 10 years. It's still there for you. So if your process is delayed for 10 years, the money is lying down there waiting for you, and then you won't have a problem.
All right, we go for a quick break. We'll be back with more stories. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is Newsbeat. Now, Chairman of Parliament's Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee has described as unfair the Supreme Court's ruling to strike out the law granting license to grow cannabis in the country. According to Kwame Enyumado-Entry, he is surprised that the court had questioned Parliament's failure to debate Section 43 of the Narcotic Control Commission Bill 2020 as basis for striking out the law on license to grow cannabis. He says things have to change to allow institutions cultivate cannabis for industrial and medicinal purposes, a move he believes will generate revenue for the country.
The Apex Court, in a 4-3 majority decision Wednesday, declared as unconstitutional a section of the Narcotics Control Commission Act which permit licenses to be issued to institutions to allow them cultivate small amounts of cannabis in Ghana for industrial and medicinal purposes. It again held the view that Parliament was not transparent in its passage of the law on licensing the growing of cannabis, and that the explanatory memorandum attached to the bill placed before Parliament did not set out detail the policy change, the defect in the existing law, and the necessity to introduce a law to license the cultivation of cannabis. Such an omission, the court held, was a violation of the Constitution. It therefore concluded that Section 43 of the Narcotics Control Act 2020 Act 1019 was unconstitutional. But Chairman of the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee of Parliament, Kwame Enyimedu Intwi, said the ruling was unfair.
To say that a particular clause, is not covered by a memorandum, and to that extent, that clause is actually unconstitutional. To me, I don't think that is fair to us. Normally, the court would not interfere with the legislature, and the legislature would also not interfere with the judiciary. And I think they have the power to interpret the law. So we would actually look at what the Supreme Court has said, and then with the critical mind, and if we are wrong, we will review our notes. But I think if they are also wrong, there is a way to correct it. Because I think that narcotics per se is not a good thing. The law that we're talking about is about narcotics, and Ghana belongs to an international bodies on this. So the question is that other countries are doing it. So where have we gone wrong?
He added Ghana must begin to consider legalizing cannabis for medicinal purposes.
The judgment has to do with the spirit within the country. Do we have to support this? And I think that the mental health and whatnot, most of the people within the mental health having mental health problems, most of them, the basis of the cause has to do with cannabis. But I would want to differ here, because that is not the type of cannabis that we are talking about. To say that psycho substance or psychophatic, they have a technical term. If it is 0.3% or less, that one is allowed to be used for medicinal purposes. I think it's something worth looking at, and looking at it for when, for how long, when are we going to allow something that will benefit the country? Because to me, if it is not for smoking or actually directed at men, women, and youth, which would not bring these mental problems and whatnot, but it is something that would actually give us money. There's a factory, we are producing this, or we can even export for us to actually get some foreign exchange for the nation. I think it is something that we need to look at.
Meanwhile, the debate as to whether to legalize the cultivation of cannabis for medicinal purposes or not continues.
Away from that, CEO of the Minerals Commission, Martin Ayisi, says his outfit will not compromise on their quest to protect Ghana's water bodies from illegal miners. According to him, assertions that the Commission has approved the mining of minerals on some river bodies in the country are untrue.
What we are telling the general public and the small-scale miners is that stop the illegal thing, come forward, let's get you a place, we'll get you the machine, you can work, and then there will be peace. But for the water body, don't come to Minerals Commission and say, we shall allow you to go and work in the Prow of Fin River. That one will not compromise. Okay, you drank water this morning. Okay, even if it's bottled water, where is it coming from? Do you want us to import bottled water? No. It's a Prow of Fin and then Anko Branco that have been damned, that water company. We are all crying. They've increased utilities, you are crying. Why? Cost of production has gone up. So pass on the information, help us, and then together we can save Mother Ghana and stop this menace in this water body thing. That one we will not compromise. So our job is to help them do it responsibly, and we are on course, we are doing that. Okay, yes, government that gave them the machine, government that brought the machine, got hard taxpayers' money. Okay, they said no, let's go and buy the machine and give it to them. Why? If you don't do that, the Chinese will fill the vacuum. Okay, so it's also a way of getting rid of the Chinese. And then, of course, our commitment to the Minamata Convention, which is eliminate the use of mercury. So I think we should be grateful to the government for coming out with this thing. Yes, but the water body, no way. Yes, so concurrent reclamation, that's the only way. And of course, areas that have been devastated that maybe they've taken off, we have to do the reclamation. So there's a program, there's a national reclamation program to rehabilitate most of these areas. Yes, and that is what it has come to as a nation when we do these things to ourselves. That money could have gone somewhere else, okay, to provide some social amenity or infrastructure to some community, or even the very community that has been devastated. So it's a collective effort, collective fight.
Students of a school for physically challenged persons and the needy St. Teresa Vocational Training Center are appealing to government and benevolent individuals to come to the aid of their school. The school is on the verge of collapsing, according to its management, due to inadequate equipment for practical studies. Christian Ahodia has more in the following reports.
Disability, they say, is not inability. It is for this reason that St. Teresa Vocational Training Center was established to provide persons with disability in the Volta region with self-employable skills to enable them live decent lives. The center, which was established by the Catholic Church, offers training in ICT, dressmaking and leather works, amongst other vocational skills. Over the years, practical tools have worn out, making it difficult for the students to have a hands-on practice. The ICT room and dressmaking department are without functioning computers and sewing machines, making it difficult for practical training. Some of the students spoke to Metro News.
I'm in the ICT department and I'm in third year. In fact, we lack learning materials, especially laptops or computers, and then also textbooks that will help us in the studies.
We lack computers in the department. For over 20 students, we have only 5 computers working. So we need help. If people can come and donate computers to our school to facilitate learning, we'll be happy.
Director of the school, Reverend Father Paul Ogene, appealed to government and other benevolent individuals to come to the aid of the institution.
People come up to learn skills, but sometimes we have some of the challenges of the tools they use in learning the skills. For now, the basic challenge we are having in our institution is on how to equip the ICT department with computers so that it can facilitate learning. And also in the dressmaking department, we need some machine to also equip the place so that we can have more students that could be able to use the machine for their practical work.
Second Lady Samira Baumia has attributed the high enrollment of girls in basic and second cycle institutions to the free SHS program. She believes the program has immensely improved the female literacy rate.
Samira Baumia was speaking in an interview with Metro TV on the sidelines of the 11th national competition for the UCMAS, an arithmetic competition organized for basic school pupils by the Moria Education Limited. She said the introduction of the free senior high school policy has led to many young girls getting an opportunity to have secondary education, which is a great improvement in the education sector, unlike days of old where many girls had the education aborted at the basic level. She said the literacy rate of the country is sharply increasing due to the policy. This year's competition saw many girls winning the Champion of Champions, the ultimate title in the levels of the competition, igniting the happiness of the Second Lady, who praised the organizers of the competition. Over 2,000 students from all the 16 regions of the country were assembled in Kaswa in the central region to take part in this year's competition. Samira Baumia said such interventions complement government's contribution to the education sector.
Girls are Omenia prizes the Emedepa, essentially Ghana, a modern power with girl child education from all levels, especially primary level. And Marka and also say Memano. Naya a Koshra and a Suti. Now, yet if we SHS buy and so, I'm a man to make ahead more. Into a bonfire say at the tertiary level, so a bay increases because my chance it's me
Impressed with the performance of participants of the competition, Sumpahema for Swami in the Ashanti region, Irene Chaymen-Sabunsu, is advocating for the GES to adapt the module and endure the inclusion of public schools.
I will advocate for the GES to look into that. Most of the time it's the private schools that you see. So, and there's something about it. If the thing is good, why not? Yes, so I will entreat the Ministry of Education to look into this. It's helpful.
Meanwhile, Business Development Director of the Moria Education Limited, Roger Ohimin, applauded government for the introduction of the science, technology, engineering and mathematics education. He believes it will help improve mathematics education in the country.
Currently, as I speak to you, the government is also trying to open one of the biggest STEM centers at Shashi East Legon area. And we are hopeful to have that partnership. We at Moria Education want to contribute our quota in helping develop the Ghanaian child. Our vision is the Ghanaian child, how we can help them so that at any stage, a Ghanaian child should be able to perform and perform very well.
We'll take another break. We'll be back with some more. Stay tuned. Welcome back. It's time for business news. The increasing spate of digital transformation has set Ghana up to lead the Pan-African Agri-Tech Innovation Hub known as Timbuktu. According to the UNDP resident representative in Ghana, Dr. Angela Lusigi, this platform will provide the youth opportunities geared towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals (SDG) for economic transformation.
It is envisaged that 8 private sector-driven Pan-African Timbuktu hubs will be established across Africa, each focused on a different priority sector and each housing a venture builder and a venture fund. Speaking at the launch in Accra, the Timbuktu project head and chief innovation officer of the UNDP Regional Bureau for Africa, Dr. Eleni Gabri Madhin, said this will help harness Africa's enormous youth talent to transform the continent.
Timbuktu is UNDP's bold new initiative to really galvanize the innovation ecosystem, the startup ecosystem in Africa. We are really believing that it is Africa's time with the population of young people that in fact by 2050 will be half the labor force of the planet. And so how can we, and if you even look at the number of mobile phones, we will have by 2050 more mobile phones in Africa, more mobile users in Africa than anywhere in the world. So the opportunity is massive. The world is starting to recognize the African talent. We see venture capital funding coming into Africa growing double on double. In fact, last year, 2021, it quadrupled over 2020 levels.
UNDP resident representative in Ghana, Dr. Angela Lusigi, believes this will build the future smart Africa, which will turn the continent's fortunes around.
It's an excellent opportunity for young Ghanaians who have innovative ideas using technology to be able to access not just funding, but also knowledge and expertise on how to grow their businesses to scale. Because we know there are some opportunities right now, and this is the reason why Ghana is one of the countries that is being looked at, is because there is already a thriving ecosystem support for small businesses.
The ambitious vision set by Timbuktu is to galvanize Africa's tech and tech-enabled startups, aiming to achieve over 1,000 startups to have impact on over 100 million livelihoods across Africa.
To To the next story, the leadership of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust has indicated that they will this year roll out a comprehensive campaign to register self-employed persons and informal sector workers onto the scheme. Director General of SNIT, Dr. John Ofori Tinkwine, said the campaign will also seek to improve transparency and accountability.
The regional sensitizing exercise by the Social Security and National Insurance Trust (SNIT) is aimed at educating leaders of the Trade Union Congress about the scheme and its operations. Addressing participants, the Director General of SNIT, Dr. John Ofori Tinkwine, said such engagements help to address concerns of members, clarify misconceptions about the operations of the trust, improve transparency and accountability, and enhance stakeholder buy-in.
I remember the first time we did this program, the kind of questions that we were getting. In fact, the program came about on the back of a lot of the citizens that people were giving to SNIT on how meager their pensions are. And a lot of them thought that the SNIT scheme was sort of a gratuity or ex gratia to speak. That after working for so many years, people should get more than what they are getting.
Dr. Ofori Tinkwine said that SNIT will this year roll out a comprehensive campaign to register self-employed persons and informal sector workers onto the scheme. On his part, Deputy Secretary General of the TUC, Joshua Ansah, entreated participants take full advantage of the engagement to become better equipped to educate the workers they represent. In his opening remarks, the Tamale Regional Chairman of TUC, Joseph Kondateri, commended the trust for continuously engaging workers and leadership of the TUC.
I think not live here. I think we have invited a lot of our constituents coming from all the districts to be part of this program, and this will actually give them the benefits or chance to make sure that they will also carry out the message of SNIT to the various locality, and then they make sure that people are encouraged to get registered with the Ghana cards, and then subsequently merge with the
Chairman of the National Development Planning Commission, Professor George Jan Bafo, says Ghana still faces a financial gap of about $450 billion to be able to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals in 2030. He was speaking during the launch of the 2022 Voluntary National Review Project.
During his speech, the National Development Planning Commission Chair, Professor George Jan Bafo, who spoke on behalf of the President, Nana Akufo-Addo, acknowledged the efforts government is making to actualize the SDGs in the country. He mentioned that the rise in inflation coupled with the coronavirus, among others, has slowed down the progress that was being made. He added these shortcomings should strengthen Guineans' resolve to achieve the SDGs.
According to the 2021 SDG report, some 124 million people have been pushed back into extreme poverty. Despite the economic and geopolitical challenges, government will continue to take smart and bold decisions necessary to turn our current challenges, whilst ensuring that the country is on the right trajectory for an inclusive and sustainable development.
Director General of the NDPC, Kojo Essiem, stated that the report shows there have been significant gains made since the first review in 2019. He added the Sustainable Development Goal 14 in particular should be given more attention.
The 1 month moratorium on fishing has indicated a significant improvement in the last 3 years. And this is something which came before the UN during the presentation, and we were very happy. Immediately attracted support. And some of the areas is to look closely at the blue economy and how we can develop it. The ocean, the fishes, all the tourism activities around that. And this is an area where we are collaborating with some of the UN agencies, including UNESCO, and the World Bank itself has shown interest in this area.
According to the Queen Mother of Dejra, Nana Sarah III, The SDG, calling for gender equality in all spaces, is gradually being realized.
Government is doing all that he could to promote us. So it's left with us to also make effort. What we have to do is to come together and follow the goals that the government wants to push forward.
UN resident coordinator Charles Abani also shared his views with Metro TV.
As we know, COVID-19 and more recently some of the shocks from the global system are impacting Ghana's achievement. So I think there are areas where progress was made on women's participation on a number of key areas around health and education, but a lot remains to be done.
That's it for business. Up next, sports. Ukraine's Alexander Usyk beat Britain's Anthony Joshua on a split points decision after 12 scheduled rounds to retain his WBA, WBO, IBF and IBO World Heavyweight boxing belts in Jeddah late Saturday. The fight in Saudi Arabia was a rematch of one in London in September, which Usyk won on a unanimous decision to take the belts from Joshua. One judge scored Sunday's fight at the King Abdullah Sports City Arena 115-113 to Joshua, with the other two deciding to Usyk. That's it for sports. Up next is entertainment news. Now, Ghanaian gospel artist and songwriter CC Baidu has released his much-anticipated album titled The Revelation Album. This is the gospel singer's second album after releasing his first, Splendor, in 2018. The album was launched at a listening session held in Accra. Well, away from that, entertainment pundit Arnold Asamoah Baidu believes Tiny should apologize to Stonebwoy for his public tantrum. Tiny, in an interview, described Stonebwoy as a fool for paying his debt without talking to him about the issue. Tiny's challenge was that Stonebwoy is his junior colleague and therefore should have known better than just opting to pay a debt he knew nothing about. But speaking on United Showbiz, Arnold Asamoah indicated that Tiny ought to apologize to Stonebwoy for the insults. He explains that after Stonebwoy paid the debt, Tiny went to the police station for his car. So the least he could have done was to express gratitude and not be ungrateful for the gesture done him. Well, that's it for entertainment news. Up next is international news.
Somali security forces have said they rescued 106 people who were trapped inside a hotel that had been stormed by militants on Friday night. 21 people died and 117 were injured in the 30-hour ordeal, the health ministry said. Officials say the fight to retake the hotel is now over. The assailant used explosives to gain entry to Mogadishu's Hayat Hotel before violently taking control. Islamist militant group Al-Shabaab has taken responsibility for the attack. President Volodymyr Zelensky urges Ukrainians to be vigilant before Independence Day on Wednesday, saying, "We must all be aware that this week Russia could try to do something particularly ugly, something particularly vicious. 2 Russians and a Ukrainian have been arrested for alleged espionage at a military plant in southern Albania," the Albanian Defense Ministry says. A bridge has collapsed in India following seasonal monsoon rains in Kangra, Himachal Pradesh. At least 2 people are known to have died.
Well, that's all I have for you on Newsbeat. I am Ms. Yedua Akumia. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great afternoon.